Fathers Who Bother is made possible in part by the contributions of listeners like you. To support Fathers Who Bother, go to our Patreon page at patreon.com/Fathers Who Bother and become a monthly subscriber today. On the next episode of Fathers Who Bother, I talked to producer manager Matt Fingaz about trying to get a baby seat into his Mercedes coupe, juggling his career and education with parenthood, bribing his son with his phone, trying to poop with a toddler around, and more. Welcome to Fathers Who Bother, a podcast for men who are dad as we want to be. My next guest is an executive producer and A&R consultant and CEO of Business of Coordination. He was one of the pioneers of New York's late 90s underground indie rap boom with his label Guess Wild Productions. He's credited with being one of the first people to work with Just Blaze and was one of the producers of the first hip-hop show at Lincoln Center. Everyone from Kanye West, Boy Wonder, J.R. Rodham to Scott Storch and Gigi Khalil has called on Matt for his unique business acumen. Recently, he has created his own multi-tiered company, BOC, Business of Coordination, which specializes in talent and coordination, content development, project consultation. You're doing a lot. Artist booking and many other services in the field of entertainment. But today, we are going to talk about his experience raising his 2-year-old son. But please welcome Matt Fingaz to the podcast. What's going on, man?
Thanks, Jerry. Sorry for the long intro.
Nah, that's standard, you know, because the dads that I've talked to are all very accomplished. So, and I have to let people know what they've done in addition to having kids. You know, what?
18, so it is a lot of stuff. You know
What's that? Say that again.
18 years old.
Wow.
I was interning. I DJed college radio. I started my own label. I was barely past 19, you know, so I just never stopped. You know, but the thing was, I mean, getting to being the dad, the thing is that I used to see all my friends in studio sessions after it was over, go home to their girl, their wife, their kid. And I'd always go home to the music. And I would, like, it would give you a high for like that 10 minutes, that 15. And then after that, you're like, man, I don't want a kid. I want a wife. And then your mother would be going, well, why don't you get married? Why are you always doing music? Blah, 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 blah. You know, and it's like you write, yeah, my life is like Seinfeld, right? But you write down on a piece of paper what you think your life's going to be, right? Like at 19, I'm doing this. At 25, I'll meet her. At 27, I'll have a kid. I'll live here. And then God is like, yeah, okay. Yeah, I got you. Very funny.
We make plans and God laughs. That is the way it goes. So to that point, when did you first find out that you were going to be a dad?
You know what's funny? I was in Florida, right? I was going back and forth for work and stuff like that. And my girl, you know, at the time, she went ahead and held up a sign, right? I still have the photo. It was a handmade sign that her and her mom did. From like Michael's, they got like paper goods, and it said like, we are pregnant or something, or we are having and I basically started laughing because I asked her mother's like in her 60s, right? And I said, hey, Ann, I said, oh, so you're making a miracle baby? She was like, no. I said, hey, Ann, I said, your dog is pregnant, congratulations. She was like, no, you idiot. She's like, we're having a baby. I said, I was like, no. And I screenshot my reactions to that, right? Because I basically couldn't believe it, because my whole life, there was a few times I tried. I didn't try every time I went in, you know, but I basically didn't think I was going to have a kid. I was kind of like, oh, I'm going to raise other people's kids. That was what I thought was going to be. And then I saw the sonogram, and I won't lie to you, Jerry. Even when the baby was born, I was looking, and I told my mother, I said, Mom, you think? She's like, yes, it's yours, you idiot. Right?
That's terrible.
Because Jerry, the kid looked like, you know, when the kids come out, they look like aliens, right? Anything. I didn't know that. I'm going, man. I'm going, okay. But then 3 weeks later, I was like, oh yeah, it's not the milkman's. It's definitely mine. It's definitely mine.
Funny enough, my mom tells me that my dad made a similar joke about me when I was born, because my dad was very brown skinned, and then when I was born, I was bright, like lighter than I am now. But a lot of Black kids, they get color as they get older. But he was like, wait a minute, how is this kid? But he was like, no, this is mine. There's no denying it. I just posted a pic of him for Father's Day, and people were like, damn, y'all were twinning for real. So sorry,
Oh,
Dad. Yeah. I'm all yours. So you find out that you're having a baby. So what's going through your mind at that point?
I was kind of late to the party, right? Because most of my friends have kids that are already out in college, So here I am with a newborn, and the first thing that goes through my head is, I hope this contract with this gig that I have is still good, right? Because the money was like one of the first things that came to my mind, and I lost the contract the same month he was born.
Oh, wow.
And I tripled my expenses. So I switched out my coupe. I had like this Mercedes coupe. I was like, couldn't fit a baby seat. They tried at the baby seat spot. And they were like, sir, you can't use this car to pick your kid up. I was like, damn. I said, I financed it. It's for a good monthly. And I traded it in, right?
Right.
And I got a family car, right? Still, but it's a family car. But it tripled. All of my bills started piling up. And then the income started decreasing at that time. So it was a lot of pressure. And then, sometimes the freelance stuff, it comes in waves, right? So you can't really count on music all the time to do that for you. And I was like, you know what? All right, I haven't done this in a million years. I'm going to apply for a position somewhere. I'll get it, bi-weekly check, healthcare, whatever. And what happened was no responses, or the responses I got were you're overqualified. I was like, Jerry, I don't care if I'm overqualified. I just want to take care of this newborn kid, right? What are you telling me? Okay, yes, I've worked with all these people, but just let's hold it down, And basically what happened was the only person to hit me back that was like receptive at that time was one of the president of admissions at Full Sail University. And I initially wanted to teach, but then they said you need to have, a bachelor's. So I only did 2.5 years of school way back. Right. But they were like, sir, you could go ahead and you could be a student, and, you could get living expense money, and you get the loans and And by that time, Jerry, I'm already studying finance. So I already know when I get money, what to do with it.
Okay.
I know how to invest my money. So I'm going, so I can get an education in film, help out this documentary series that I've been producing forever, help my kid monthly with what he needs, and I could quadruple it, or I could go ahead and invest it and do other things. Let's go. And that's basically what led me to where I am.
Okay. So what did it feel like when you got him? Hold on, I'm going ahead. So the day he's born, take me to the day. What's that day like for you?
Oh, I was taping everything, right? So she hates those videos. Like when I had showed her at the time, Miles' mom, and it was just like, I have like a newfound respect for what women go through that day, like inducing the pregnancy, the pain, and meanwhile, I'm just there holding a hand or just cheering on, go, yeah, go. But I'll tell you, Jerry, it's in my DNA. Like everybody knows it. All my music friends know it. All my friends' friends know it. They go, Matt loves being a dad. Like, because even when I was, in relationships where the person had kids, I embraced it. I never was like, whatever, and my thing was, like, being a role model was super important to me because I saw all these dysfunctional adults around me. And I said, what's missing? What is the common denominator here? And I said, role models, like a solid male presence, like, and I said, especially like if you were dating women who had trust issues or daddy issues, you're like, well, maybe you could be the difference in generations to come.
Right.
Not to give a speech about it, but I take generational education is serious. Like I think about my son and I think about my parents and their parents. I go, where did the money education go wrong? Where did it? And I say, oh, great-great-grandfather, when he made these choices. I said, wow, choices 200 years ago are still affecting us today. So I said, we are going to break that. So my son never has to think in terms of that,
Right.
So that's kind of like where my head is at in regards to what drives me with all this.
That's smart, man. I tell you, my dad worked in banking for most of his career, and he told me things early on about credit and checking and stuff that I still hold dear. That has kept me out of like serious, outside of my student loans, serious debt, so those lessons really help, and I've passed them on to my kids so that they don't start out with the problems I had, running up credit cards when you're 20 and you got no way to get out of that hole. It's a relatively small amount, but with the interest compounding, you paying that $15 a month minimum payment, it's gonna take you years to pay that off. So little things like that, definitely come in handy when you want to give your kids the heads up and let them know, don't make the mistake I made.
And what's funny is that I even help my mom now. I'll sit there and, I set up a Coinbase for her. I'll set up the Charles Schwab. I'll set up the E-Trade. I'll do all these things. But if they're receptive, if they're people that are not receptive, I keep it to myself. I'm not trying to save the whole family, But if I could kind of like lead by example, especially my kid, he doesn't know, he doesn't even talk yet. But I want him, that to be his frame of mind, because even if he gets into the creative arts, okay, that's great. You're getting credit. That's great. You're getting publishing. That's great doing this. But what are you doing with it? Right. What do you own? Do you have more liabilities? Do you have, what's your situation? So I think that what I'm doing now is probably the thing I'm most proud of in regards to, being a father, being present and then educating.
Speaking of being present, so you get him home. What's the adjustment like for you, realizing you've got this whole human being that you're now responsible for?
I won't lie, I was nervous because I'm really good with 1.5-year-old and up. but it was like, you get afraid. You're you hold the neck. You're like, oh my God, am I gonna, hurt the baby? And then and you're constantly see, with me, I didn't get to really relax in it because I had lost that gig when the baby was. So the minute I bring him home, I'm on the phone 8 hours, 10 hours, seeing what I can make happen. So I didn't really get to stay still in the moment of the baby as much as I would have liked to, So it then caused a lot of other issues, which we won't necessarily get into, but because I wasn't just able to, some people have a 9 to 5. They go 9, they come home 5, and from 5 on, they could be daddy. Mine was 6, 7 in the morning till 2 in the morning. And then still doing the baby formula in the kitchen, and then still going ahead and doing the 4 moms rocker, and then taking care of this. So I was ripping and running even in the apartment,
Wow.
Yeah. So that's why, I set my life up differently now, where when I'm with my kid and I have him, I don't care who wants me to do what when they want me to jump. I will get to them when I get to them, because he deserves my undivided attention in that moment. I put my phone on silent. You want to watch Finding Nemo? We watch Finding Nemo. We go outside. We go to the park. We do our thing. And when an emergency comes up or I know I have to do some business, I'll do it on his nap, or, I'll find windows. But Jerry, I had spent so many years giving them my full attention. And it's not always appreciated. It's not unconditional. It's not like your kid. It's like, oh, we need Matt. I need him to tell me what I need him to tell me right now. Or Matt, I need you to do this. Or, and I'm just like, how many years are you going to just continually just be on that side?
Right.
And really hold what your value system truly should be.
I agree. You mentioned about juggling the business. You posted last year for Father's Day, very grateful to make it back on time. Where were you coming back from?
Florida.
Okay.
So basically, to get the money, to get the education, and to make the education happen quicker, meaning like I could get this degree in 2 years, done, right? Anything else was 3-4 years. So I was like, okay, but it required me to get that money, to get that education, to be down south. So and then I got caught in the pandemic where I couldn't travel. There was 3 months where I was right where I am right now, isolated, like couldn't move, couldn't travel, nothing. And eventually I found a way through the auto train. So auto train's awesome. Amtrak auto train from Sanford, Florida to Lorton, Virginia. Amazing, right?
Wow.
You load your car up, they take you. I didn't have to deal with all these other issues. And I found that way. And then I made it back in time for all the events I needed to be up there for.
So you would auto train from Florida to Virginia, then drive from Virginia?
Yeah.
Back up. Wow.
Yeah. I just did it last week.
Wow. Okay.
I'm still doing it.
That's a good compromise. So what's your son like? What's this bubbly 2.5-year-old like?
He's very decisive. He knows what he wants, right? And he doesn't talk yet. Like he'll go yeah, or da, but he doesn't like look at me and go da hi. He doesn't do that yet, right? But physically, he's able to, like, I know he wants his milk. I know he wants me to turn this on. I know he wants to go in the car to go to the park. He's very communicative physically that way, right? Gotcha. And when you don't give him what he's looking for, he lets you know it's a problem, right?
What does he do?
Okay, so for instance, I'll take him to the wildlife preserve in Long Island, right, for walks. And I'm going in the car. He loves looking at cars just go by. He could literally sit there for 30 minutes and just look at cars, right? I'm like, we have to go. We have to go, right? And I try to he's standing on his baby seat in the back of the car. And I'm trying to move him. I'm like, move, Miles, sit down, man, sit. So what I have to do is, I know that some mothers out there be like, you're a sucker, you're a sucker. I basically take my phone and I bribe him, right? now I've cut down on screen time a lot, like because he needs to learn how to communicate more. So I don't give him any iPad. I very limited movies and TV unless it's raining, you know. But I basically have the Disney app, Jerry, and the Disney app has Toy Story. And he loves Woody and he loves Buzz. And I turn it on and then he goes, oh, no more cars? Oh yeah, then he'll sit down for me. And I put my phone on this strap that I have on the back of the headrest. And then I could go home. And then when we get out the car, it's like I shut it real quick. And right when he's about to get annoyed, I show him a basketball. He loves basketball.
Nice.
Right? The big ball, he hates the small ball. He doesn't, he wants the big boy ball.
Right.
And I give him, it's like I'm constantly having to distract him from being annoyed.
Sounds like being two.
Wait, don't be upset. It's the ball. Wait, don't be upset. Here's Finding Nemo. Wait, don't be upset. Wait, here's some peanut butter. You like your peanut butter? Okay.
That sounds like raising a toddler. You got like, and you're like you're a willing hostage. Like you put yourself in this situation, but now you have to now cater to this person's every will women need, because when they're not happy, like you said, nobody's happy.
I know, like I learned the hard way. So I
Mhm.
know like he needs his naps, right? He needs this is when he gets his meals, right? It's like clockwork. I'm on him, and I tend to sleep like the same times he sleeps. So I sometimes take naps too now, right? And I'll
Yep.
be like, because I need to have the energy. I take
Yeah.
vitamin 12, a lot of it. Okay. And I'll go ahead and I'll literally have to have the energy to match him. Right. Because I know what it's like when I'm like, you deal with all the music stuff, you deal with the school stuff, you deal with finance, you deal with all this, and then you have no energy left. And this kid is wired,
So that's
and
the
I'm like,
pro and con of being the older dad, right? You're more experienced, you're typically more patient, but then physically keeping up with the smaller kid is just a challenge.
marathon. I pace myself like, okay, this is the long haul. This is a songwriter. Me and my guy Mel, my business partner, we have a friend called JQ Smith, and he's a writer and he's a father, and he works out daily. And I said, why do you you're training like for the Olympics or something? He's like, I want to be able to do certain things as I become an older father.
Yes.
I said, you know what? You're right. So, Jerry, I still go out and hoop every week. I play ball. I don't eat too much crap, a little too many carbs,
Right.
but and I try to get as much sleep as I can.
That's a major key. That's sleep, boy. That's sleep and the exercise. You can't overlook that with the kids, man, of any age. Because
Yeah,
you want to be around for them. But now Miles, you spell it differently.
right.
Why that spelling? No pun intended.
Well, I always like to be a little outside the box. I didn't want to name them anything too crazy, but really, honestly, the documentary series that I'm working on, Road to My Human Experience, is all based around the miles of my life. So it took me miles to make him, right? Like thousands of miles to get to the point where I became a father. And so that was one part. And then the other part is my dad's name's Marcus and I'm Matthew. So I'm big on kind of like family. I don't know what the word is, but
Continuity.
yeah, I wanted, you know what it was? I wanted to keep the M's going, right? And there were like little things. I think a lot of people in this generation, they ignore their family culture and their heritage and things like that. And I'm not saying I'm overly that, but there were certain things I wanted to do so that the older generation could go, that a boy, he respects us. He's like, yeah, the kid had a bris. Okay, yeah, we did, like not like crazy, but just enough to be like, you know what? I want to give the kid a like solid roots to grow from. That was the thought process. And his middle name is Bodhi. So her father, Miles' mother's father, he passed away. God bless him. He was Buddhist. So we wanted to incorporate him into Miles also. So the first part is like me and my father, and then the middle name is kind of like her dad.
Nice. I like that, Miles. Because Sha Money XL has a similar thing going with all of his kids. They got the S. It's like they're all Shanae, all of his kids, their names start with some form of S.
Yeah.
He would have named them all Sha if he could have.
Bro. Sha Marley.
That's what he said. He calls himself Sha Marley.
Sha Marley XL.
Extra XL. So how many like industry uncles does Miles have? Because it seems like he's around a lot of your peers.
Oh, he's good. Like if this kid ever wants to learn how to do drum programming, it's no problem. Okay, if he wants to go ahead and write raps, or anything creative, so like 88 keys, Like I'll tell you, my baby shower was basically the one-stop shop music producer conference. Okay. Like I had Young Lord, right? I had Sean J. Period. I had 88 Keys. I had Sean Marley Extra L, right? I had who else was there? Cuss, the engineer, my kid named Cuss. Basically, we could have recorded it, any session right then and there at the event. Just Blaze. You know what? Just Blaze really helped me out a lot, man. Like I not having that gig when he was first born, and just had, his kid's a little older than mine. Mm-hmm. So he had the mattress, he had the crib, he had all these different things. He said, bro, my kid outgrew all this stuff. Come by and tell me what you need. Matter of fact, just take all of it, right? So I would, I took the mini SUV and whatever, and I loaded it up, and the kid was coming out with like Back to the Future little bootsies, right? And that was great. Like I can't thank him and his wife Bryna enough. Like they really, came through for me.
That's beautiful. That we had some friends of ours, another producer, Pro DMS, and his wife Nakia. We went to college with Nakia, and their son was a little older than ours, and it was the same thing. They're like, look, Hayes has outgrown all this stuff. Come take it. We're not going to do anything with it. And that people don't realize how helpful that is when you especially with your first kid. Oh my God. It's just a lifesaver being able to lean on folks that way.
Oh, it's the best. It was the best.
And it's good for the environment because they manufacture all these giant plastic toys that the kid uses for like 3 weeks, and then it just sits in the corner. Some other kid could use it,
The clothing, what's funny? I didn't realize how fast the growth spurts were. So people were buying me like 4 times the size of a sweatshirt. I'm like, the kid can't even wear it. They were like, trust me. You're going to need this sometime down the line. Yep. And I look at the clothing. There's some clothing. He's got a beautiful down coat he never even wore. And I'm like, well, maybe give it to another kid or something. But
those winter coats are key. Like you got to buy those like my wife used to buy, if she found one that she liked that was on sale, she would buy it and then the next 2 sizes up for the next winter, because between 1 and 2 and 3 years old, their style and fashion isn't going to change. It's not like you and me. Oh, I can't wear this coat 5 winters from now. People are going to call me crazy. What are you wearing that? That's from five seasons ago. With babies, it don't matter. So you can buy that same red bubble coat in 2 sizes, 3 sizes, because it's only like this children's place was like $15-$20. They're gonna wear it eventually.
Carter's, right? Mm-hmm. Like Carter's, and I get him. I won't lie. I put him in a lot of things that I would have worn, right? Mm-hmm. So he's polo down, right? The kid is polo. He doesn't care. He'll put grape juice on it. It doesn't matter, right? He's polo down, and then for sleep, it's like Marvel. I'm a big Marvel head. Right. He goes ahead and he has his Black Panther outfit. He's got Spider-Man. DC, I don't really rock with, but he does have a Batman. Shout out to Brooklyn Batman. But Batman, he's got a Batman outfit. And then Woody, Toy Story, and then Carter's $10 pajamas is the best.
Major key, the $10 pajamas, because they're going to wear them. And then there's the laundering. People on this, like sometimes going through the laundry is a whole other thing, because they wear so many different outfits in one day. It doesn't make sense to get super expensive stuff, because like you said, he's gonna spill on it, spit on it, poop in it. Man, just get the $10 onesie and be good.
About that, I was on this podcast with Stat Quo that we were doing together right before the pandemic, and we're talking about kids. And I was like, you got to use Desitin, right? And he's like, what's that? He said, what's that? I said, what's that? You have 2 kids, bro. He said, I don't know what Desitin is. I said, you never changed the diaper? He said, nah, what do I need to do that shit for? She's going to do it.
Wow.
I said, bro, I have to use, I'm the king of Desitin. My hands smell like Desitin, like a pound of it just every day. right? Every day. I'm like, whoa, come here. And I'm holding the kid's legs together like he's a ham hock, right? And I mean, when I first did it, it was a hot mess. I was pouring baby powder. It looked like, I don't even want to tell you, but I got the hang of it. And now it's like, I couldn't imagine my life without Dustin.
For those of Desitin is diaper cream, which you gotta put on their butts when you change their diaper so they don't, chafe and get diaper rash and stuff.
Fathers who bother. No, Dustin. If anybody is on here on your show and doesn't know what Dustin is, then they do not need to be interviewed.
Right. Okay. How does Stackpole not change diapers in 2020? Like, I don't understand. How does he get away with that?
Mommy makes it happen. Or I know I have a couple friends, I'll keep them nameless, but they have nannies at home. Wow. And the nanny and the mom, between the mom and the nanny, they're like, you handle the Desitin. But I'm like, I'm more of a hands-on, because you know what it is? It's like, not to put it out there, but I'm a single dad, right? So basically, I'm doing this day to day, but when I have him, it's mostly to myself. So occasionally my mom will be down there, but she's usually busy, but and my dad, I think he's maybe picked him up once. My dad likes it when the kids are bigger. Okay. He's like, let me go play ball with you. But anything below that is like, you deal, right? So when I have him, Jerry, it's me by myself. And I'm like, I gotta know how to feed him and clean him, and I gotta know the A to Z, the whole thing.
You need to talk to Sean C, because he was on here a few episodes ago, and he was a single dad, and he was talking about raising his kid in the 90s. Can you imagine? He was 19.
I've had to Google a couple things.
Right. Could you imagine not being able to Google anything? You just got to ask, How
about no urgent? Imagine a time period with no urgent care.
Yo, that was like the story I always tell on here. Anybody who's a regular knows the story of when my son swallowed the watch battery and we had to take him to the emergency room. So yeah, look out for that, because he was only a little older than your son when he did it. He was from one of his toys. It was the little, and boop, and it was like, So then it was just,
That's scary.
Yeah, very, because batteries in your body, if they decompose, is all bad. So we had to monitor and make sure that he passed it. So it was a whole thing. Poop watch.
I got scared. You know what? The only scare that I had was he doesn't like you when you clip his nails, right?
Oh, yeah.
So when he was younger, I could, he'd be asleep and you could do them, right? Or you file them or whatever.
Right.
Heals everything. It's like you could tiptoe and he'll pop his head up, right? So I basically saw this, because I do it with myself. If I see something extra long, it gotta go. It's gotta go, right?
Yep.
So I clipped his nail and he pulled his hand as I'm clipping the nail, and it caught the base of his skin underneath the nail. I haven't seen anything or anyone bleed that much outside of a knife wound. It was that much, I had blood all over.
Wow.
I was like, dude, stop. It wouldn't stop bleeding.
Wow.
So basically gauzed it real quick, and I take him to the urgent care, and they helped me take care of it. It didn't require any stitches
or anything, right?
They put like a glue on it or something.
Yeah.
But if I didn't go there, he'd have kept bleeding.
How old was he?
Maybe 6 months ago.
Wow. Okay.
He's 2.5 now. So I'll say about around when he turned 2. And but after that he was okay. But he knows that building, that urgent care building. Wow. So when I take him afterwards for a cough, he saw the building. I was like, oh man.
He's like, no, not the hospital.
No, you don't know where you're at. You know this place? He knows locations.
Wow.
It's crazy. He walks around the neighborhood and he knows where my driveway is. And then he knows where at his mom's place, where his grandfather's house is down the block. He walks like he knows, he's like a human GPS. Crazy.
So speaking of grandpa, what was your relationship like with your dad growing up?
Same it is now. Baseball, basketball, balance a checkbook. That's it.
The 3 B's?
Baseball, basketball, balance a checkbook. Nothing. I got no birds and bees. We didn't get all the bees. Right? I had to learn that on my own, bro. I had to learn that on my own.
Wow, you didn't get to talk from your dad or your mom?
My mom, see, that's the thing. My mom is overly involved. My dad is not, what's the opposite of that? Underly involved?
Less involved, right.
Less involved, thank you, Jared. Less involved, a lot less involved. So basically, I have a really good jump shot because of him. But when we talk, let me tell you, we can't talk life. Like, I can't talk politics with him. It's I like, that is a banned subject when I come to New York.
Oh, wow.
You cannot speak. I don't care about defunding the police. I don't care about Republican, Democrat. I don't want to hear it. All I want to do is enjoy my son, because my whole life was consumed for months and months and months of that. And really, we can't discuss it without it. At some point, either I'm ignoring all of it or we're arguing.
Right.
So I said, wow, like, okay, well, then we just talk. Okay, you saw the Celtics Nets? Okay, did you see that? Wow, that was an incredible shot, right? Okay, yeah, cool. Like, we talk like that and we're good.
Okay. And
we're good. But I said to myself, Jerry, I said, how many other millions of homes out there are fractured because of politics? You know,
a lot. I had this similar conversation with House Shoes, DJ House Shoes, he and his dad, trying to have those political conversations, and they just go left. And he's like, I just gotta let it go.
They go left, no pun intended.
Exactly. So what is your so your dad doesn't usually, he's picked them up like once, but in general, what's their relationship like, Miles and his grandpa?
Right. Okay, my parents are from Brooklyn, right? Hence the hi, how are you? Right? Or how you doing? How you doing? Okay, so this is how he talks to Miles, right? I go, look at the baby. You look at the baby, right? Like, I can make a bunch of different voices. My dad is this one voice. Hey, Miles, how you doing? All right, give me 5, Miles, give me 5, right? And that's every time I hear him give him 5. This kid knows how to give 5, right? High 5, low 5. I think my dad taught him how to give 5.
Nice.
But that's the limit of their conversation. If give me 5 was a language, I could see them having a conversation. But besides that, he'll say, no, Miles, no, don't do that. That's it, right? That's it. And then he'll go, hey, get your kid. And then I'll have to come in or go, I'm going to the other room. I can't stand this anymore. I'm going to the other room. So he'll go to the pool room that he sits and watches his games or his news. I won't mention what channel he watches, but he'll go to the other room. And then I basically can't get 5 minutes to myself. I have to literally put him in the high chair to eat, and then I can run and take showers.
Right.
Like, these are the fastest showers I've ever taken.
When you have kids, right? It's 2 things: showers and poops. When I gotta go number 2 was the fastest I ever went, was when I had a small child, because if they weren't in there with me, I had to make it quick.
He comes in there too, like he takes that chance. He does take that chance. He comes in there and I'll go, Miles, oh my God. And he'll sit there and they'll like lean on me while I won't get into detail, but I'm just saying is the blessing of all of it is that being in music, we used to do 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning sessions, right? I wake up at 6 in the morning now, right? For the most part, outside of the past couple of days. but I'll wake up at 6:30. I never did that in my life. It was always get home late. If I wake up at 9:30 in the morning, I'll literally sit there on the phone, texting, emailing, calling. I wouldn't motivate because I was so exhausted.
Right.
But now it's the best thing that happened with having a kid was waking up early and going to sleep earlier. Right. Because now I check the world markets with money and I could do a variety of things or get a head start on my day that I didn't do before. And I'm like, wow, how productive I would have been if I did that for all these years.
Wow. So I'm a wrap up on this fun note. It's Miles likes basketball. Grandpa likes basketball.
Yeah.
What are you guys thinking of this current NBA playoffs, brother? Like first one without LeBron and God knows how long. The first one without, well, LeBron's the main one. I'm forgetting who else, but like the major, like Steph Curry. This first one without Steph Curry and God knows how long. Like who you guys pulling for? Now that you know.
Okay, first off, my dad, once the Celtics lost, he's a big time Celtics fan.
Okay.
Right. Once they lost, he was really kind of rooting against my Nets. Right now, mind you, I've been a Nets fan since the 80s. Right, Buck Williams, before Jason Kidd, before Kenny Anderson.
Right.
Everybody knows it. It's documented. Right. But he would come in the room and go, "Oh, I see the Nets didn't really play defense tonight." I was like, "Get out, you hater." Right. Well, Kevin Durant is pretty good, but the rest of them, I don't know, because he hates basically that Kyrie left Boston.
Gotcha.
Right?
Gotcha.
But for me personally, I'm a little annoyed at the amount of injuries.
Yeah.
Right.
It's bad.
It's too many where I can't even gauge if this year's champion is like a true champion. Right. Even though the games are tight.
Right.
Young is killing him. Right. Yep. Chris Paul, you got to give props to the Suns because they're winning without Chris Paul and with Chris Paul. Right. And it's like, I really wouldn't be shocked if it's a Suns-Hawks finals.
I wouldn't be mad at Suns-Hawks, though. Trae Young versus Booker, come on. Yeah. That's going to be a battle. As a basketball fan, I wouldn't be mad at that, personally.
No, I think John Collins matches up well with DeAndre Ayton. I think Clint Capella, Kevin Huerter, they match up well together. Right. But I'll be real with you. I was really hurt. I didn't post it on social media how hurt I really was, right? But I was really hurt when I'm watching my Nets totally exhausted. James Harden on one leg, no Kyrie. And it's like, and these Bucks fans are coming at me on Twitter because I'm going at them, right?
Right.
You guys won beating us on one leg and just Kevin Durant and Joe Harris, where was he? And I won't lie. I'm going to apologize to Joe Harris, right? Joe Harris, I'm sorry for egging on all the negativity on Instagram and Twitter because I'm burning his jersey.
Oh.
I said, damn, I didn't want it to go that far.
Oh, man.
But damn, Joe Harris, 4 games in a row, you blew it. 4 games, you couldn't help your boy KD out.
Right.
Help your boy KD out, man.
It's true.
So we'll be back next year, okay? We'll be back. I'm going Hawks, though. I'm going Hawks, Suns, Game 7, whoever wins at the buzzer.
It's going to be a close one. Whoever ends up there, it's not going to be any blowouts. So that's what I'm excited for. It might go 7 games the way it's going now. So enjoy. Man, Matt, thank you so much for coming on, man. This has been lots of fun. This has been Fathers Who Bother. I'm your host, Jerry Barrow, and my guest, Matt Fingaz.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I never found out. Why did Matt Fingaz? What's the story?
Jerry.
What's that?
My hands on everything.
Got it. Matt Fingaz. He gets his hands on everything.
DJ Fingertip. And I hated people calling me Tip because of Q-Tip.
Oh.
Gaddafi, shout out to Tragedy Gaddafi. He said, yo, Matt, you're Matt Fingaz. You get your hands on everything done. And then I was like, all right, you got it. I don't care if Sticky is out there. I'll do it. But I use Matt Schilt when it's real business. Trust me.
No doubt.
You're not saying Matt Fingaz on the line.
Right, right.
Only with 88 keys and Shy Money XL and Scott Storch.
Got you. Well, I know Matt Fingaz from the Scratch Mag days, so that's.
Yo, thank you for all that. I still look at them. The Scratch Magazine was still one of the dopest music production publications in the history of publications.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man.
No,
well, it was the hard work of people like you that made it work, that made it worthwhile too.
I love it. And I appreciate you, Jerry. You're all for the culture. And I love the interviews you do with Marvel.
Oh, right? I haven't done one of those in a while, but thank you. Those were fun.
I mean, because of the,
but the Black Panther and the Ant-Man, and those are fun.
Loki. I'm enjoying Loki.
Yes, Loki's a dope series. I'm really enjoying the series. I'm I'm waiting on the What If animated one that they said is coming later in the year.
Oh,
that one looks amazing because it's like basically the infinity warps. So like T'Challa was Star-Lord and stuff, like grew up like Star-Lord did. I can't wait to see what they do with that.
It's gonna be amazing. I love how they tie in the streaming shows with the movies, right? Mm-hmm. And how they're going to tie in the multiverses. And I mean, that's a whole other show, Jerry,
Yes.
But the multiverses, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Loki.
It's going to be nuts.
Secret Wars. Let's go. Secret Wars.
They ain't ready. But Matt, thank you so much, man. Have a good day. Have a blessed weekend. Enjoy the summer, and I'll see you on the internet.
Say no more. Have a good day, Jerry.
You too.
Peace.
If you're enjoying Fathers Who Bother, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and follow us on Instagram at Fathers Who Bother and Twitter at Fathers Who Be. Thanks.